Hello my friends. So I've actually had this idea requested a few times. The Dark Pokemon. And no, we're not talking those kinds. We're talking these kinds. Dark Pokemon before Dark was a type. The Pokemon that have found themselves on a less than ideal path thanks to those dastardly fellas in Team Rocket. I'm not going to be talking about every single Dark Pokemon card in existence because there's a lot. But I want to focus on the ones from the Team Rocket expansion and the ones that appear in TCG2 because, well, that's kind of my thing. The golden era of Pokemon cards, if you will. The Team Rocket expansion of the Pokemon Trading Card Game was the fourth expansion released, which came out in Japan way back in November of 1997, known as Rocket Gang, and then got its English release in April of 2000. As stated, Team Rocket's on the loose. The number of criminal incidents involving Pokemon has been on the rise. Some suggest it may have something to do with the rash of Pokemon kidnappings that have been occurring recently. Pokemon breeders believe that to properly raise and evolve a Pokemon, you have to treat it with love and attention. But what happens if a Pokemon isn't treated properly? Will it evolve differently? What's the secret behind this new threat to Pokemon and their trainers? So yeah, the basis of this expansion was to focus on Team Rocket themed cards. Between base set, jungle, and fossil, all of the main 150 Pokemon were covered at least once, with Mew being promo based. There were certainly variants of some Pokemon like Zapdos, Pikachu, Ghastly, Haunter, etc. But once the fossil expansion was released, there really weren't any Pokemon introductions until Gen 2 would come out. So the next three sets, Team Rocket, Gym Heroes, and Gym Challenge, tried to adapt more gimmicky ideas, with the latter two having Pokemon owned by the Kanto gym leaders such as Brock's Onix and Erika's Victory Bell. But then that brings us to the gimmick of Team Rocket, the Dark Pokemon. Like in the blurb, these are meant to be Pokemon that have evolved that weren't treated properly. A lot of them tend to have higher attacks, less HP, and many with some sort of risky penalty, kinda like junkyard dogs or something. It's pretty sad, really, knowing that these Pokemon could have had happy lives had they been raised with love and care and not be abused. So what better way to celebrate these tormented lost souls than to joyfully collect them and put them in a binder for safekeeping? But the thing about the dark ones is that they're all evolved Pokemon. Their unevolved versions are all just the standard innocent ones, which are variants from the Team Rocket set. You can still evolve a Team Rocket Voltorb into Jungle Electrode, but it could also become Dark Electrode, for example, and likewise with base Voltorb into Dark Electrode. But I'm not going to bother going over all the unevolved ones. This video is just about the Dark Boys. There were 31 Dark Pokemon in the Team Rocket set, so we have a lot to go through. Let's do this. To kick it all off, we have Dark Charmeleon, a 50 HP Fire Uncommon with the moves Tail Slap and Fireball. For 2 colorless, Tail Slap just does 20. For 3 fire, Fireball does 70, but only with a heads flip. If a heads is flipped, also discard a fire energy. If a tails is flipped, nothing happens at all. Dark Charmeleon is a prime example of what these dark Pokemon are all about. 50 HP is low, in fact it has exactly the same HP as base Charmander, but this 70 damage attack is pretty beastly. Of course, it can only take effect 50% of the time, and you lose an energy, but it's still pretty scary. I do like the artwork here too of Charmeleon flinging its tail around as the blazing embers leave a trail. It's a nice looking card. It also later got a release in the Pokemon web set. Then we have the mighty Dark Charizard, the king of the starters. Dark Charizard is an 80 HP fire rare with the moves Nail Flick and Continuous Fireball. For 1 colorless, Nail Flick just does 10. For 2 fire, Continuous Fireball does 50, equal to the number of fire energies on Dark Charizard for every heads flip. Then those fire energies get discarded. I mean, yikes.
That's a lot of damage!
Also, it's important to note that Dark Charizard does in fact only evolve from Dark Charmeleon. Usually with moves like Water Gun, it does extra damage for every water energy beyond what's required, but there's usually a limit. This bro has no limit. 16 fire energies potentially dishing out 800 damage? Go for it. But you will end up having to discard any successful ones. I also like that with that powerhouse attack it has Nail Flick for some simple no-nonsense 10 damage. It's so strong, even a tiny flick will do something. It will crumble a mysterious fossil into dust. I am not a huge fan of the artwork though, at least not as much as Dark Charmeleon. Dark Charizard is just turned away with a night sky in the background. That's about it. Its flame tail is in front of its wing, so it just looks kinda weird to me. But this one did also get a future Pokemon Web release as well. Next up is Dark Wartortle. Yeah, Ivysaur and Venusaur got left behind for some reason, but they do exist, that we'll get to later in the video. Dark Wartortle is a 60 HP water uncommon with the moves Double Slap and Mirror Shell. For 1 water, Double Slap does 10 for each heads on 2 flips. For 1 water and 1 colorless, Mirror Shell has you deal the exact same amount of damage back to the defending Pokemon if Dark Wartortle is hit on the next turn, even if it gets knocked out. Yeah, it's kinda cool. Mirror Shell more so forces your opponent to rethink what attack they want to use. Should they risk getting hit for the same amount of damage? But if that doesn't work, Double Slap is also an option, although very unreliable. The artwork has Dark Wartortle sitting against a stream maybe, with its arms crossed, looking angry AF. It's okay. It kinda looks like it's pouting. Like with the other starting cards, this one also got a Pokemon Web release, as well as a Legendary Collection reprint in 2002. And then, evolving from only a Dark Wartortle is Dark Blastoise, a 70 HP water rare with the moves Hydro Cannon and Rocket Tackle. For 2 water, Hydro Cannon does 30, and then 20 more for each additional water energy on Dark Blastoise, up to 2 more. For 1 water and 2 colorless, Rocket Tackle does 40, Dark Blastoise takes 10 damage, and then with a heads flip, all damage done to Dark Blastoise on your opponent's turn is prevented. Yeah, this is a pretty sweet card, and I think it's better than Dark Charizard. But I'll always choose Blastoise over Charizard anyway. Sorry bout it. Hydro Cannon is like an even better Hydro Pump from the base version, although this one is missing out on Rain Dance. But Rocket Tackle is pretty sweet. It is self-damaging, but you are preventing being hit at all in the next turn 50% of the time. You're trading in potentially high-damaging hits for only 10, all while dishing out 40 as well. I feel like they did Dark Blastoise justice here, especially with the artwork. I love this. Blastoise lunging forward with the sweet-looking water effects around it. It's a great card. And like with Dark Wartortle, this one got a Pokemon Web and then a Legendary Collection release as well. Dark Raticate is a 50 HP colorless common with the moves Gnaw and Hyper Fang. For 2 colorless, Gnaw does 20. For 3 colorless, Hyper Fang does 50, but nothing with a Tails flip. A pretty basic one, and weirdly enough, the only common dark card in the entire set. You're dishing out either a set 20 or 50 with 50% accuracy. There's not a whole lot to it. I do like that it's Hyper Fang when the base version has Super Fang though. 50% accuracy is pretty harsh though. The artwork here is okay. Dark Raticate is in a cave maybe, or a forest at night, just kinda reaching out with its stubby arms. Dark Arbok is a 60 HP grass rare with the moves Stare and Poison Vapor. For 2 grass, Stare has you deal 10 damage to any one of your opponent's Pokemon, ignoring weakness or resistance, and then that Pokemon's Pokemon power stops working for 1 turn. For 3 grass, Poison Vapor does 10, auto-poisons the defending Pokemon, and all of their bench Pokemon take 10 damage. I think this card is pretty sweet, honestly. I've mentioned numerous times before how I love cards that can damage benches, and adding on an auto-poison? Ooh baby. The artwork has Dark Arbok and some grass at night with what looks like a spotlight shining on it. Yeah, I'm a fan of this card. Next up is a very interesting one. Dark Raichu is a 70 HP lightning rare with the move Surprise Thunder. For 3 lightning, Surprise Thunder does 30, and then you flip a coin. If it's heads, you flip another coin, and if that one is heads, your opponent's bench all takes 20 damage. If the second flip is tails, all of your opponent's bench takes 10 damage. If the first flip is tails, only the 30 damage happens. So the weird thing about this card is its number in the set. It is number 83 out of 82. This is what is known as a secret card, and it actually got an English release before a Japanese one. It also is apparently responsible for the Team Rocket expansion being delayed, as Dark Raichu had to be approved by Nintendo. I couldn't find much information on why this was, but my only guess is that it's supposed to be the quote, evil version of Raichu, the evolved form of the franchise's mascot. So maybe there needed to be some extra hoops to jump over or something. I could be completely wrong there, but it's just my guess. Although Nintendo does love having dark forms like with Samus or Link, so maybe I'm wrong. Either way, Dark Raichu is the first secret card, as there will be more in future releases. I bet people thought that this was a typo back in the day. As far as Surprise Thunder, yeah, I love it. you may be dealing 20 damage to everything on your opponent's bench. Just awesome. I like the artwork too. Dark Raichu is looking mad with some nice colors behind it. And this is one to get a legendary release in 2002. Dark Golbat is a 50 HP grass rare with the move Flitter and has the Pokemon power of Sneak Attack. Sneak Attack has you deal 10 damage to any one of your opponent's Pokemon when you play Dark Golbat, and you apply weakness or resistance. For 2 grass, Flitter simply has you deal 20 damage to any of your opponent's Pokemon not applying weakness or resistance. This card was made for me. It only damages any Pokemon of your choosing. You control everything here. Want to focus on only damaging the active one? Go for it. Want to start taking out a strong bench one? Go for it. Yeah, Dark Golbat is sweet. The artwork looks like it has Dark Golbat dive bombing you with some Dark Forest branches behind it. Big fan of this card. Dark Gloom is a 50 HP grass uncommon with the move Poison Powder and has the Pokemon power of Pollen Stench. Pollen Stench gives you the option to flip a coin once per turn. If it's heads, the defending Pokemon is confused. If it's tails, your active Pokemon is confused, all unless Dark Gloom has a status condition. For 2 grass, Poison Powder does 10 and auto poisons. This is a pretty cool one. I love auto poisoning, and I like that Pollen Stench is a gamble. Being confused is super annoying on either end, so you're causing chaos by risking the sanity of your own Pokemon. The art is kinda cool too. It looks like Gloom is in a windstorm of scents. I like the color scheme that they went here with too. Very black and orange, even though Gloom is very dark blue and red. Could it be the shiny version? But evolving from Dark Gloom is Dark Vileplume, a 60 HP grass rare with the move Petal Whirlwind, and has the Pokemon power of Hay Fever. Hay Fever puts a stop to any trainer cards being played unless Dark Vileplume has a status condition. For 3 grass, Petal Whirlwind deals 30 damage for each heads on 3 flips. If 2 or 3 heads occur, Dark Vileplume becomes confused. So just when you thought you're out of the confusion woods with Dark Gloom, Dark Vileplume can also cause self-confusion. Lots of risks going on with these guys, but it's cool that they both have a Pokemon power. Hay Fever would be especially good if your deck doesn't revolve around trainer cards. I also like the artwork here too. Vileplume is looking totally emo here with its petal covering one eye, and it has a smug look on its face. I'm actually a big fan of Vileplume, so this is a fun card. Dark Dugtrio is a 50 HP fighting rare with the move Knockdown, and has the Pokemon power of Sinkhole. Sinkhole is, if your opponent tries to retreat their active Pokemon, that Pokemon takes 20 damage if a Tails is flipped, unless Dark Dugtrio has a status condition. For 2 fighting, Knockdown does 20 if a Heads is flipped, 40 if a Tails is flipped. Yeah, a move where flipping a Tails is what benefits you. The card says that your opponent has to flip the coin though, which is why the Tails is the negative result, but I mean, does it really matter who flips it? It's supposed to be 50-50 either way. Dark Dugtrio isn't super strong, but I still like this one a bit. The artwork has these absolute mad lads straight up crashing into somebody's bedroom through their floorboards. Good lord. Imagine if that was a problem that you couldn't counter. And they look super angry too. Who hurt you? Oh, right, Team Rocket. Way to go, guys. Now I need a new floor. Next is one that had a couple different releases with different move names and artwork, but are the same card. Kinda weird. Dark Persian is a 60 HP colorless uncommon in the Team Rocket set with the moves Fascinate and Poison Claws. For 1 colorless, Fascinate has you switch your opponent's Pokemon with one from their bench with a heads flip. For 2 colorless, Poison Claws does 10 and poisons with a heads flip. But this card also had a Japanese promo release from a 1997 issue of Pokemon Card Fan Club, and then got an English promo release in an issue of Nintendo Power. These cards are the same, but change the name of the move Fascinate to Tempt. I like the artwork from the promo one more than the Team Rocket one, as it has the standard Sugimori artwork of Persian sitting down. The Rocket version is kind of an awkward looking Persian from the side on a mountain with a snarl on its face. I don't love this one. Attack-wise, it's okay. A colorless Pokemon that can poison is kinda cool though. Dark Golduck is a 60 HP water uncommon with the moves Third Eye and Super Psy. For 1 Psychic, Third Eye has you discard an energy on Dark Golduck to draw 3 cards. For 2 Psychic and 1 colorless, Super Psy does 50 damage. So yeah, a very unique one here where it's a water type that only uses Psychic energies and no water. Keep in mind that Golduck is pure water type. I feel like Golduck was meant to be water psychic all along, but it got lost in development or something. But they wanted to keep treating it like it is water psychic anyway. This would be a cool addition in a Psychic deck though, as you get all the benefits of dealing extra damage on fire types with its water typing. I like the artwork too. Cool looking water waves with Dark Golduck in the middle shooting a red beam from its third eye. It's going to help you draw those 3 cards in style. Dark Primeape is a 60 HP fighting uncommon with the move Frenzied Attack and has the Pokemon power of Frenzy. Frenzy has Dark Primeape deal 30 more damage each time if it's confused, even to itself. For 2 fighting, Frenzied Attack does 40 and then Dark Primeape is confused after. Yikes, this is such a risky one, but very true to what a Dark Primeape would be like. Regular Primeape is so hell-bent with rage that it just lashes out at whatever, so a dark version of that would be dealing extra damage without even knowing where it is anymore. Pure rage. Game-wise though, this one is a little too risky for me. If Dark Primeape hits itself at full health, it's down to 10 just like that. This guy won't be around for too long. The artwork is a bit strange too. Lots of greens and yellows and purples with Primeape standing with its arms down. I'm not a big fan of this card, and that's a shame because Primeape is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. Ah well. Dark Kadabra is a 50 HP Psychic uncommon with the move Mind Shock, and has the Pokemon power of Matter Exchange. Matter Exchange gives you the option to discard a card in your hand to draw a card, unless Dark Kadabra has a status condition. For 2 Psychic, Mind Shock does 30, ignoring any weakness or resistance. This one's pretty cool. You lose the bonus of doubling your attack on other Psychic types, but this Kadabra can actually hit colorless ones with a Psychic resistance. I think that's a better positive. And then Matter Exchange could really come in handy to get good cards faster. The artwork has Dark Kadabra bending a spoon with a yellowish-green motion background. It's okay. This one also had a Pokemon Web release. Evolving from Dark Kadabra is Dark Alakazam, a 60 HP Psychic rare with the moves Teleport Blast and Mind Shock. For 2 Psychic and 1 colorless, Teleport Blast does 30, and you have the option of switching out Dark Alakazam for a benched one. For 3 Psychic, Mind Shock is the same as Dark Kadabra's, but stronger. 40 damage, no weakness or resistance applied. This one can be pretty scary, and is actually number 1 in the Team Rocket set. Kinda cool. It's funny that Dark Alakazam has a 3 retreat cost, but can instantly retreat after dealing damage with Teleport Blast. This guy really should be ready to go if you're going to use it. The artwork is literally just Alakazam standing there with a spotlight on it over a black background. Very basic. Dark Machoke is a 60 HP fighting uncommon with the moves Drag Off and Knockback. For 2 fighting and 1 colorless, you choose either move. Drag Off does 20, but only after you switch out the defending Pokemon with a benched one of your choice. Knockback does 30, but your opponent chooses what Pokemon to switch in for after damage is dealt. This one has a bit of strategy going for it. Do the lesser damage to a benched one and force that one in, or deal more damage to the active one and then it switches out to one out of your control. I like that it's the same cost for either move, so you can certainly plan things out to go the way you want it to. And yep, I love damaging benches, so this one is a plus for me. The artwork though, not really a fan. Dark Machoke is screaming while lifting up a boulder. It's fine. Evolving from Dark Machoke is Dark Machamp, a 70 HP fighting rare with the moves Mega Punch and Fling. For 2 fighting, Mega Punch does 30. For 3 fighting and 1 colorless, Fling has you cause your opponent's active Pokemon and all cards attached to it to be shuffled back into their deck. They must have at least 1 benched Pokemon in order to use this. Yeah, it's basically an insta-kill but without the prize. This one can be pretty scary. You can rid them of all of their Pokemon until they're down to 1 and then just keep Mega Punching it. Dark Machamp could be the be-all end-all of Pokemon matches here. I like this one, but Fling is costly. The artwork has Machamp reaching out with a glow over a dark blue background. This one really works for me. Dark Rapidash is a 60 HP fire uncommon with the moves Rear Kick and Flame Pillar. For 2 colorless, Rear Kick does 20. For 2 fire, Flame Pillar does 30, and then if you discard a fire energy on Dark Rapidash, you also deal 10 damage to one on their bench of your choosing. Not bad, not great. 30 damage for 2 fire isn't bad, and then if you can't get fire energies, Rear Kick is a simple option. A lot of the fire ones need you to discard fire energies to get the full benefits, and this one is no exception. You're trading in an energy for only 10 damage to a benched one though, a bit costly unless you're swimming in energies. The artwork has a red-eyed Rapidash with flames all around it. Kinda like Dark Charmeleon, but not as good. Yeah, it's okay. Dark Slowbro is a 60 HP psychic rare with the move Fickle Attack and has the Pokemon power of Reel In. Reel In has you put 3 Pokemon from your discard pile back into your hand when Dark Slowbro evolves from a Slowpoke. For 2 Psychic, Fickle Attack does 40 unless a Tails is flipped. It could potentially be a game changer getting some lost Pokemon back from just simply evolving your Slowpoke. But Fickle Attack, while strong for only 2 energies, also only hits 50% of the time. Not great with that being Dark Slowbro's only attack. There's not a whole lot to it really. It's potentially very helpful just from playing it, but risky to continue attacking with. The artwork has an angry looking Slowbro with a rocket grunt in the background. Is this our first sighting of Team Rocket on these cards? Dark Magneton is a 60 HP lightning rare with the moves Sonic Boom and Magnetic Lines. For 2 colorless, Sonic Boom does 20, ignoring any weakness or resistance. For 2 lightning, Magnetic Lines does 30, and then you move a basic energy on the defending Pokemon to 1 on their bench. Kind of a cool little gimmick there. You're constantly depowering the active Pokemon, all while powering up a different one, but you could be moving energies to one that doesn't need it in order to waste them. I like this one. Also, Sonic Boom is very true to what the move is, a perfect representation there. The artwork is pretty funny to me. They found a way to make Magneton look mad, even with its singular eye per Magnemite. Then all you see is the shadow of a figure in front of it, as if it's giving this twisted Magneton some new orders. A pretty cool card. Dark Muck is a 60 HP grass uncommon with the move Sludge Punch, and has the Pokemon power of Sticky Goo. Sticky Goo causes the defending Pokemon to add 2 more to its retreat cost if Dark Muck is the active Pokemon, and if it doesn't have a status condition. For 2 grass, Sludge Punch does 20 and auto poisons. I'm actually a big fan of this one. Auto poisoning for only 2 energies plus the 20 damage is really nice, and then it's doing its best to put a stop to any retreating so the poison can run its course. Very awesome. The artwork though, I don't know. It's just Muck giving the finger with some oranges, pinks, and purples around it. It's pretty average for me. Dark Hypno is a 60 HP psychic rare with the moves Psy Punch and Bench Manipulation. For 1 psychic, Psy Punch does 20. For 2 psychic and 1 colorless, Bench Manipulation does 20 for each Tails, with the coin flips equaling the number of Pokemon on your opponent's bench. Weakness and resistance is ignored. Also a really cool card. It's like Hypno is using mind control to have their bench turn on the active Pokemon. If there's no bench though, there's no coins to flip. But 20 for a single energy isn't bad at all. I love the artwork here too. You see Hypno's pendulum at every point in motion with some psychic eyes in the back over a warped checkerboard. One of the best arts from the set in my opinion. Dark Electrode is a 60 HP lightning uncommon with the moves Rolling Tackle and Energy Bomb. For 1 colorless, Rolling Tackle does 10. For 2 lightning, Energy Bomb does 30, and then you attach all energies on Dark Electrode to ones on your bench in any way you like. If you have no bench though, they just get discarded. Yeah, not a complete powerhouse here. You're either dealing 10 or dealing 30 some of the time. What is kind of cool is that you can deal your 30 damage and then move your energies to someone else if Dark Electrode is about to go down anyway. Then you can power up that Zapdos or whatever that's on your bench. Still, not one of the better Dark cards. The artwork is Electrode in front of some city buildings at night. Average all around. Dark Wheezing is a 60 HP grass rare with the moves Mass Explosion and Stun Gas. For 1 grass and 1 colorless, Mass Explosion does 20 for every coughing, wheezing, or dark wheezing in play, and then each of those also takes 20 damage. Weakness and resistance is not applied to the coughing family ones. For 3 grass, Stun Gas does 20 and then poisons with a heads flip, paralyzes with a tails flip. So if this is your only wheezing and you just happen to be against someone using a bunch of coughings or wheezings, Mass Explosion is the move for you. A double whammy. But Stun Gas always causing some status condition is pretty awesome. Ideally, you'd want to poison and then paralyze every other turn. Dark Wheezing could be pretty scary here. I really don't like the artwork though. Wheezing looks like it's melting or something and just kinda looks unfinished. Very meh. Dark Wheezing also got a Pokemon Web release. Dark Gyarados is a 7 HP water rare with the move Ice Beam, and has the Pokemon power of Final Beam. Final Beam has you deal 20 damage for each water energy on Dark Gyarados to the defending Pokemon if Dark Gyarados is knocked out, unless it has a status condition. For 3 water, Ice Beam does 30 and paralyzes with a head flip. very similar to other Ice Beam attacks in the game. This one is pretty good, but not great in my opinion. Ice Beam being its only attack is good though, but it still takes a bit of powering up. But Final Beam is a nice little bonus just in case things aren't working out with Gyarados anymore. The artwork is just fine too. It's a drawn Gyarados over a blue background. Very basic here. This one also has the claim to fame of being the pre-release promo for the Rocket set. But now we have the 3 evolutions. Dark Vaporeon is a 60 HP water uncommon with the moves Bite and Whirlpool. For 3 colorless, Bite does 30. For 2 water and 1 colorless, Whirlpool does 20, and then you choose an energy on the defending Pokemon to discard. 2 attacks for 3 energies could be costly, but causing energies to be discarded is usually a great bonus. If they're swimming in energies though, Bite is the better option with slightly more damage. I really do like the artwork here too. Dark Vaporeon is swimming along a purple tinted Whirlpool. A nice color combo. And this one got a later release in the Legendary Collection. Dark Jolteon is a 50 HP Lightning Uncommon with the moves Lightning Flash and Thunder Attack. For 1 Lightning, Lightning Flash does 20, and then if your opponent tries to attack on the next turn, a Tails Flip has it do nothing. For 2 Lightning and 1 colorless, Thunder Attack does 30 and paralyzes with a Heads Flip. With a Tails Flip, Dark Jolteon takes 10 damage. I personally think Dark Jolteon is better than Dark Vaporeon, as Lightning Flash is quite good for only 1 energy. Then Thunder Attack is pretty good with a possible penalty. Dark Jolteon does have less HP though, so they tried to balance them out. The artwork is also really cool. Another purple background with Jolteon unleashing some electric attack on a hill. Dark Flareon is a 50 HP fire uncommon with the moves Rage and Playing with Fire. For 1 colorless, Rage does 10, and then 10 more for each damage counter on Dark Flareon. For 2 fire, Playing with Fire does 30, and then with a Heads Flip, it does 20 more damage, and then you discard a fire energy. I don't think any of these Dark evolutions are great, but they are also all uncommon. Dark Flareon is more about dishing out attack, while Vaporeon and Jolteon have more of a focus on causing energies to be discarded and paralyzing respectively. I personally think Dark Jolteon is the best of the 3, but they each have their pros. Dark Flareon's artwork is probably my least favorite of the 3 too, as it continues the trend of just swirling fire with the Pokemon in the middle, just like with Dark Charmeleon and Rapidash. And the final 2 from the Team Rocket set are going to be the Dragons. Dark Dragonair is a 60 HP colorless uncommon with the move Tail Strike, and has the Pokemon power of Evolutionary Light. Evolutionary Light has you search your deck for any evolution card to go into your hand once per turn, unless Dark Dragonair has a status condition. For 3 colorless, Tail Strike does 20, and then 20 more damage with a Heads Flip. Yeah, Evolutionary Light is quite good. You can pretty much set yourself up for the rest of the game with beefing up your Mons, and then either have Dark Dragonair Tail Strike it out, or evolve it into Dark Dragonite by simply searching for it in your deck. The artwork is pretty cool too, with Dragonair over some crystals while lightning strikes in the back. And our final Rocketmon here is going to be Dark Dragonite, evolving from Dark Dragonair, a 70 HP colorless rare with the move Giant Tail, and has the Pokemon power of Summon Minions. Summon Minions has you put 2 basic Pokemon from your deck onto your bench when you evolve Dark Dragonair into Dark Dragonite. For 4 colorless, Giant Tail does 70 unless a Tails is flipped. Dark Dragonite is understandably strong, but once you add the 2 basic Pokemon to your bench when it comes in, you're looking at a lot of damage, but only 50% of the time. Super strong, but pretty unreliable, and very costly with the 4 energies. The bonus though is that it's good to go with 2 double colorless energies. And the artwork has Dark Dragonite over a blue background. Also not a whole lot to it. And this one also got a Legendary Collection release as well. And there we have it for the ones from the actual Team Rocket set. There were quite a few there, but these dark ones are the basis of the set, so it makes sense. But that's not quite all. There were still a few promo ones, as well as only the ones featured in Pokemon TCG2 that I at least want to mention. So they actually did give some love, or hate I guess, to the Forgotten Kanto starters. Dark Ivysaur is a 50 HP grass promo card with the move Fury Strikes, and has the Pokemon power of Vine Pull. Vine Pull allows you to switch your opponent's active Pokemon with one on the bench when you retreat Dark Ivysaur. For 2 grass, Fury Strikes basically has your opponent divide up 30 damage in any way they'd like among all of their Pokemon. The card text says they put markers on to deal damage, but that's essentially what happens. A very unique move there, I like it. Dark Ivysaur is all about not caring about the active Pokemon. The artwork is of a very bold line drawn Ivysaur lifting its front leg up. Kinda looks like it was drawn with a Sharpie, but I actually like it. This card actually had 3 releases too. It was available in a 2001 issue of Pokemon Card Trainers magazine in Japan with the GB symbol on it to emphasize its tie-in with TCG2. Then it got a Pokemon web release in Japan, and then it actually did find its way to an English release in 2003 in a best of game set, which was a small set of only 9 cards that were given out in Battle Zone tournaments before Wizards of the Coast stopped making the cards. And then evolving from Dark Ivysaur is Dark Venusaur, a 70 HP grass promo card with the move Horrid Pollen. For 3 grass, Horrid Pollen does 30 and then 2 coins are flipped. With 1 heads, the defending Pokemon is asleep and poisoned. For 2 heads, they are confused and poisoned. And with 2 tails, they are paralyzed and poisoned. Absolute yikes. This Venusaur is no joke. Horrid Pollen is its only attack, but it is dishing out some serious problems. It will always poison and then cause another annoying status condition that could cause them to not be able to do anything. This card is a beast. The artwork has Venusaur under some moonlight, which has made its flower appear to be yellow, thus making it look very similar to a shiny Venusaur. A very awesome card, and I feel like it puts Dark Charizard and Dark Blastoise to shame. This got the same releases alongside Dark Venusaur with the Pokemon Card Trainers magazine, Pokemon Web, and Best of Game releases. Dark Fearow is one that I have already talked about before, but it is a promo card that got a Japanese release inside of the Pokemon TCG2 guidebook. Dark Fearow is a 60 HP colorless promo with the moves Fly High and Drill Dive. For 1 colorless, Fly High doubles Drill Dive's power on the next turn. For 2 colorless, Drill Dive does 40 or 80 if you used Fly High before, and then Dark Fearow cannot use Drill Dive or Retreat on the next turn. It's actually pretty scary being able to do that much damage for that cheap. Sure, you can only use Drill Dive every other turn, but that ends up being an average of 40 damage a turn for only 2 total colorless energies. The artwork has Fearow performing said Drill Dive after flying high again. The bold lines really make it stand out too. This would be an awesome card to own. But the last ones I want to mention are ones I've already talked about in my Gray Series video. These are all Dark Pokemon that appear in TCG2 as the exclusives for that game. I won't go over every single one again because I already did this. Check out that video if you want to know more because these are some pretty cool cards. No, you know what? I will talk about these as well, but since I've already said everything I need to say, I'm going to pull an absolute mad lad move here and straight up share the clip of me talking about them from my Gray Series video. Is that lazy of me? Heck yeah. But this is just a bonus to help make the video feel more complete. Just stop the video here if you already watched that video and don't care to hear me talk about them again. So, for watching. Check out my Patreon if you want to support the channel in super cool ways and get your own virtual Pokemon card. And I'll see you all next time. Stay tuned for the TCG2 Dark Pokemon if you can't get enough. After that, Paraspectre will return. First up, we have the colorless rare Dark Clefable with the move Dark Song and has the Pokemon power of Darkness Veil. Darkness Veil says that any active Pokemon that has Dark in the name gets a randomized damage reduction of 0, 10, or 20 unless Dark Clefable has a status condition. For 3 colorless, Dark Song does 30 and then with a heads flip, the defending Pokemon is asleep and all of their bench Pokemon take 10 damage. Yeah, Dark Clefable is pretty awesome actually. Even if you don't utilize the strategy in basic deck around Dark Pokemon, Dark Song is pretty scary. At worst, it's doing 30 damage. At best, it's doing damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon and causing sleep. A pretty sweet card, I must say. Although, isn't a Dark Clefable just a Gengar? Food for thought. Next is the Fire-type rare Dark Ninetales, with the moves Perplex and, well, Ninetales. For 1 fire, Perplex has your opponent not draw a card at the beginning of their turn with a heads flip. For 2 fire and 1 colorless, Ninetales does 10 damage for each heads on 9 flips. I have some thoughts here. Firstly, if you remember the TCG1 exclusive Ninetales, Dancing Embers has you flip 8 coins. I can't remember if I mentioned that it was a missed opportunity to not flip 9 coins for Ninetales, but I was sure thinking it. So then they go and give Dark Ninetales a move called Ninetales, which is pretty awesome. Until I realized that the damage is dealt for each heads. I know heads is typically what you want for things to happen, but come on, make the exception here for tails being what you want. The move is called 9 Tails. And it is kind of funny that the 9 Tails from TCG1 is misspelled 9 Tails, which is the name of the move here. A pretty cool card, just a missed opportunity in my opinion. Next is the Psychic type uncommon, Dark Haunter, giving us 5 Haunter options. It has the move Disgust. For 2 Psychic, Disgust does 30, and then with a heads flip, your opponent shuffles a random trainer card in their hand back into their deck. A pretty simple but effective card here. A 30 damage move for only 2 energies that may or may not stifle your opponent's strategy. I do like the gimmicks of these Haunter cards, usually doing something unique, and yeah, I like it. Not too much more to say about it though. But this exclusive Dark Haunter does evolve into the Psychic type rare Dark Gengar. It has the move Push Aside, and has the Pokemon power of Play Tricks. Play Tricks gives you the option to randomly rearrange all of the damage counters on all of your opponent's Pokemon unless Dark Gengar has a status condition. And then for 2 Psychic, Push Aside doesn't deal any damage, but with a heads flip, your opponent shuffles a random Pokemon in play and all cards attached to it back into their deck. This is the coolest card I've ever seen, and it can't even deal any damage. You're essentially knocking out Pokemon in one hit, but you don't get any prizes, and they do have the chance of getting them back. But I mean, you can just push aside their entire team and then bring someone else in to knock out their only remaining Pokemon. I love this. It's not a foolproof strategy by any means, but probably so satisfying to pull off properly. This is one of my favorite cards in the game. Dark Marowak is a fighting type uncommon with the move Bone Headbutt. For 2 fighting, Bone Headbutt does 20, and then one of their benched Pokemon at random takes a random amount of 0, 10, or 20, and that Pokemon switches in. That is its only move, but yikes, not bad at all. You know me, damaging benches is where it's at. With it also doing 20 damage regardless of what extra damage is, it's a pretty cool card. Dark Starmie is actually the last TCG2 exclusive card, but there are a few more I want to mention too. Dark Starmie is a water uncommon with the move Spinning Shower, and has the Pokemon power of Rebirth. Rebirth allows you to discard Dark Starmie and all cards attached to it in order to replace it with a random Staryu from your deck, but only if there actually is a Staryu there and Dark Starmie doesn't have a status condition. For 2 water, Spinning Shower has you flip a coin. If it's heads, a random amount of your opponent's Pokemon, 1 or 2 only, take 20 damage, and an energy card chosen at random is discarded from them. I love how all of these Dark exclusives here focus on the random. They make for very fun cards that can make you think about your strategy more. I also like this one a lot.